Markets with David Modell.
Welcome to Looking at the Markets with David Modell. Today I have not just one but two amazing guests today, because these are two gentlemen from an ICO and a token and a system that I believe in. It is MedChain. And I'm going to put that website up there. It's medchain.global. And today I have two representatives from MedChain. It is CEO Joachim Sandgaard and CTO Steve Wishstar. So gentlemen, welcome to Looking at the Markets.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, it's an absolute honor and pleasure to have both of you representing this fantastic opportunity here on Looking at the Markets. So I wanted to talk about MedChain because they are truly rebuilding healthcare. We're talking about a globally compliant healthcare blockchain and dApps for electronic medical records. I know this is so important, but let's start with a little bit about both of you. Gentlemen, if one at a time you could tell us about yourself and how this MedChain project came to be.
Sure. So MedChain started about a year and a half ago when I was working as a system administrator and senior IT manager at a medical device company that served over 500,000 patients, and that's a lot of medical records. And over my course with that company, we went through several EMR or electronic medical record systems. And getting data from one system to another is quite a process. It's the kind of thing that takes a lot of time and a lot of people to get done right. So MedChain really spurred from the idea that we could use a blockchain to facilitate the transfer and auditability of what records are where and who owns them and who gets to delegate them out.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Steve, if you'd like to tell us about your involvement in the project and how you came to MedChain.
Sure. I started MedChain probably about 6 or 8 months ago here now, and brought on as the CTO because I had a good firm, at least I believe, a good firm grasp of how to develop front ends and back ends, and then also have been dabbling into the blockchain development environment itself. So I run a couple of teams for some NASA projects, for some DoD projects. So it's kind of very, trying to keep on top of what the latest, technologies are out there and the best, and the medical field itself is kind of like a poster child for blockchain technologies, like why you would want to keep your medical records safe and untamperable and stuff like that. So it really intrigued me, so I definitely decided to apply myself here.
Yeah, well, I think it's great that you're getting involved in this because it's not only a great token, a great project, but it's also really important for the medical community. Now, what makes your project unique from some of the other medical blockchain projects that are out there today?
I think the biggest thing that we've seen is that the majority of projects out there focus on one little aspect of either scheduling or maybe some of the record storage parts, but we really focused on making an extensible platform that other medical record companies or even healthcare companies in the blockchain space can build directly on. So we're the platform that all the other companies in this space could exist within, sort of like the Ethereum platform for healthcare.
Fantastic. Well, I like the sound of that. Now, gentlemen, if you could tell us, since you mentioned the platform, can you tell us a little bit about the MedChain platform and some of the features?
Sure, I could actually handle that one. So yeah, the MedChain platform itself, like Joachim said, it's kind of like the baseline of what anybody would need for their medical history. It's basically, we provide the storage space for medical files. So, as you're taking an X-ray, or at the doctor's taking an X-ray, or dental records, or whatever you want for your medical records, they can actually be stored in MedChain in this distributed file system that's all permissioned and stuff like that. So, and then that brings me to the MedChain itself is actually surrounded or governed by the permissions that the patient gives each of the providers. So with the click of a button, the patient can actually give, their brand new provider, or somebody, that they want to get a second opinion from, they can give them permission to see their medical records so that that doctor can, get up to speed on what's happening, very quickly and see the official results. And then the actual other thing that we are providing is that storage market. So the companies that are storing EMR records right now, whether that be hospitals or specific companies, they will actually continue to store those medical records, but now they'll actually get paid for storing those medical records. Right now they are storing them, for their own patients, like they need to, but that capital expense for their computers is not being reimbursed. But we can actually pay them now, through the storage market itself. So, whatever the storage rate is for storing files, they'll get, like a per gigabyte, per month type of pay system to pay them back.
So essentially, you're compensating, you're rewarding medical providers for properly storing those medical records. They're not just doing it because they have to, but now they're doing it because they want to. And that makes a lot of sense to me. I believe in rewarding good behavior and doing what ought to be done. Imagine that. And that's what's happening with MedChain right now. And I'm looking at some of the other features that I see. Smart contracts. People's information, patient information, is being stored on a distributed storage network with smart contracts. Federated servers, protecting the MedChain protocol, making sensitive information secure and yet available when people need it. Distributed storage, electronic medical records being encrypted and fragmented across the network to prevent those malicious attacks, those hackers from getting in. So I see so many advantages of MedChain. Gentlemen, I wanted to, this is important. We're talking about legal things here. HIPAA laws. Is everything on MedChain, on the MedChain platform, is this all HIPAA and GDPR compliant?
Yeah, that's actually where we put our focus initially, was on making sure that we're compliant. When you're dealing with very sensitive data, you don't want to risk a data breach, not only for the sake of the patients, but that kind of thing can be terminal to a company. So we set out to make sure that our platform was HIPAA compliant and then subsequently GDPR compliant as those new rules rolled out. So, we have no publicly identifiable information on the public network. There's going to be certain storage links for various, various different sectors of the space, and making sure that the transfer of the files is secure and people have the right to be forgotten on the network. Where if everything was on a public blockchain and easily accessible, people wouldn't necessarily have the ability to have data expunged or deleted if they decided that they didn't want that anymore. So our platform is more than just sort of an interface. It is the expandable platform that will exist to run this long term.
Yeah. So you've got a plan in place. You're fully compliant. That's super important. And once again, just to mention, people can go to medchain.global, and I'm going to make it easy for people. I'm going to put that link right in the description below this video. So just go ahead and go there, or type it into your browser, medchain.global. Read the white paper, look through the website. It's fantastic. Now, gentlemen, I wanted to talk about how things are coming along. What is the status of development, and where are you at in the roadmap?
Yeah, I can answer that actually. We are, currently in the development phase. We're doing all that network configuration, the chain code or the smart contracts, as you mentioned, and then doing all the UI coding, to make an actual patient distributed application and a provider a distributed application, so that the doctors and the patients can both see, how this is going to function, and they can, give permissions back and forth and stuff like that. And then probably about the next quarter of next year, 2019, we'll probably open up the beta version, and that's where we're going to actually, bring on real clients to beta the system and store medical records, across thousands of patients. And then in the main network is probably going to be 2020 timeframe, about a year after that. And that's when we're going to, take on the millions of patients to put medical records into it.
Now, let's talk about what are the largest complications or roadblocks that you've run into.
So one of them you sort of touched on, which was the potential of the price going up of our token. Well, one of the things that we ran into very early when we started this company and started to go the ICO route was regulations. So our token is probably going to be one of the very first released authentic security tokens, in the sense that they're going to be treated like a security. They're going to have dividend on our net profit. They're going to have a buyout right. They're going to have a first liquidation right and a rescission right. So essentially that token is going to function, the external token is going to function like preferred equity in MedChain. So you're not just buying into hype, and you're not just buying into potential usability of a utility token. You're buying a security token that will generate you hopefully profits long term, and its value will be based on the actual performance of the company.
Yeah, and what people need to know is that, first of all, the MedCoin token is an SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission filed security. It's a security token, and it tracks the financial health and well-being of the MedChain network. It is an Ethereum network-based ERC-20 or similar token, all right? And it has a hard cap. It has, again, this is not subject to...
We actually recently changed the hard cap, but we will have all that available in our Regulation D 506C offering documentation. But we wanted to make this as attractive as possible for investors. So we made a couple of changes over the last month.
Yeah, and a hard cap is something I look for when I invest in any token, because I want to know it's not going to be subject to massive, huge governmental forces of inflation, things like that. That's why I'm a huge fan of ICOs, tokens, cryptocurrencies in general. So, and this is, again, on the ERC-20 Ethereum-based network. So this is the real deal, folks. Now, I wanted to ask more about the tokens. How do the tokens, the MedCoin tokens, work? And can you explain the functionality and benefits of using tokens for this?
Sure. So the main functionality of our security token, it being a probable ERC-20 or ST20 security token, is that there will be potential liquidity on official alternative trading systems or SEC registered ATSs like T0 and potentially Poloniex, and in recent news, I think Coinbase was indicating that they're planning on allowing the trade and transfer of security tokens on their platform as well. Yep. So that's the purpose of us tokenizing this security in the company. And then on top of the dividend, buyout, and liquidation rights, we feel like that adds a lot of potential future value to the security and the preferred equity in MedChain. The utility tokens that are going to exist on our platform, Steve can probably tell you a little bit more about them in detail.
Sure. Joachim talked about the security tokens part of it, the value holding pieces. The utility tokens are, true utility. They're non-transferable to anybody else. And so basically a doctor would buy them, and they are actually, payments for the storage that I mentioned. So, if they need to store an X-ray for 6 years, because that's how long HIPAA requires it, then they can pay with their utility tokens. And then the storage providers will take on their utility tokens. And so these are, flat rate, fiat-based tokens. So for, X amount of dollars, you get X amount of tokens. And those can be traded back and forth. So meaning not traded between people, but traded, to pay for storage.
Yeah.
And then besides, those record tokens to store medical records, we actually have a second utility token. So that's 3 tokens in total for now. And that's a discovery token, and that you can actually pay to read storage. And that was kind of one thing that I missed mentioning earlier, is kind of a benefit of our platform, is that it's extendable. So we're not just creating one set system. We can actually extend those permissions into several other avenues. And like our phase 2, we want to take on medical discoveries. So basically looking through EMR records with the patient's permission, and basically doing the machine learning, the AI on looking at medical records and seeing is your reaction the same that everybody else is across the country, and to a certain drug and stuff like that. So those are kind of the discovery tokens that I started talking about.
Gotcha. All right. And are there any promotions that you'd like to highlight for investors right now?
Well, I think we've had some great partnerships that we've been releasing some news on in the last couple of weeks. We've got some great advisors on the team, people who are familiar with the security space and people who are familiar with the token space, because we're sort of bridging the gap between the two. So we've got some blockchain experts from the B token team. Do you want to go into the business partnership with Cognition Foundry, Steve?
Oh, sure, yeah. That was a kind of what I kind of alluded to, that phase 2 that we want to go to, our medical discovery consortium. Cognition Foundry is an IBM business partner, and basically they are enabling us to, run our network on a server that has like mainframe capabilities. So this is where we can actually offer to look through millions of records and do searches on them, and those advanced queries in order to find the artificial intelligence can actually find new discoveries. Basically, like this certain drug affects this number of people if they are in this sort of situation or whatever. So that's kind of big data, big computational power. Capability is really driving that phase 2, and then we have actually other phases beyond that planned. So that was Cognition Foundry was an important teammate for us on that side of things.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. I'm excited about this. What I want people to do is to start on the homepage. Go to medchain.global. Again, that link is in the description below this video. I made it easy for you. Just go there. I also want people to head on over to the Telegram group. Has over 10,000 members on the MedChain Telegram group. Easy to join, right there on your phone, and get the latest updates. Also get the latest updates on the MedChain homepage, and also check out the white paper while you're at it. I always read the white paper before I invest in anything. You want to know the specifications. I know you're going to be super satisfied when you read it, because you're going to learn that this is properly SEC filed. All the due diligence has been done, fully HIPAA compliant. This is a real token, ERC20 or similar on the Ethereum blockchain network. Folks, I think you're going to be satisfied with this one, because not only is it a great investment, in my opinion, but it is also something you can feel good about, because you're helping make the medical, the health records and healthcare system, which I believe is broken, to be honest with you. I think it needs fixing. This is a start. This is how you do it. And it's on the blockchain, which I love. Gentlemen, is there anything I forgot to ask you, or anything else you want to mention at this time?
Well, I think we covered our bases. Yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free.
Yep, and I think on the website that you pointed out, on it basically right on the homepage, we'll have an invest button, for investors to actually to use, to get straight to the details.
Yeah, our whitelist should be opening in the next week or so for people to be able to come in and make sure they go through KYC and AML, and make sure that they're accredited investors for our Regulation D 506C offering.
Fantastic. Also, if people want to contact you, I've got info@medchain.com listed right there on the website if people want more information, or better yet,
US, I believe, but yeah.
Right. And this is real, folks. This is an opportunity for you. I'm bringing you the best in the ICO and crypto space, and this is one I really believe in. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I've been speaking with CEO Joachim Sandgaard and CTO Steve Wishstar from MedChain. Check out medchain.global. Check out the MedCoin. If you're ready to make that investment, I believe in it. You should too. Gentlemen, you're welcome back on Looking at the Markets anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, David.